All right. For those of you who are watching the raw and uncut versions, you diehards, we have a really fun take for you today. I started something out there amongst my audience about people with bad attitudes, cutting corners, the grass is always greener. I call them the Sour Grape Sellers. So we're going to talk about the Sour Grape Sellers. What do you do? Are you one? Recognize yourself in any of these scenarios. And what should management or leadership do about it? Because it's really damaging.
Yeah. And we're going to bring up a new word and see if you know what it means. I didn't know what it meant. Lynn Hidy knew what it meant. Shawn, I'll find out if you know what it meant. And then we're going to run a social media contest about what you do about this word when it's being done to you. So welcome to the raw and uncut version.
Let's go.
Let's go. Good morning.
Good morning. We're recording, so watch what you say.
Watch what you say.
There's a permanent record.
Yeah. So this is what happens when I braid my hair wet before I go to bed and then take it out in the morning. So
it's lovely.
Thank you. I feel so 18th century. So I am so excited to talk to you. We have so many cool things happening. Our Facebook page is exploding.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. You know, it's really interesting because with all the other channels and all the other mediums, people still really love Facebook.
Yeah, and now you're able to put stories on like Snapchat, and you're able to do like, I've been doing a little bit of research on maybe we want to do Facebook Live, maybe when we want to do this Facebook Live too, so that people can like come on and interact with us. We'll see. I mean, I'm not completely sold yet, but if we can,
we should try it sometime.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Why not try it? I mean, what I want really mostly is to engage with our audience. And if they will come on and play with us on Thursday mornings, all better.
That would be fun.
It would be fun. Before we get started on anything at all sales related, I have to ask you a question.
Okay.
So, last night I was like so frustrated with her, like certain kind of documentation we're trying to figure out. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, I take this class at my gym called Hyperkick. And it's kind of like mixed martial arts and aerobics and ways to feel, completely mortified that you're uncoordinated. But my question was, I've never hit anybody. Do you think that if you, like, I don't even really know how to throw a punch, do you know? And I look ridiculous trying, and kicking and everything. But do you think you could hit have you hit somebody?
I have.
Is it totally scary?
Yes. What's even scarier was like after I did it, oh shit! Like what's gonna come back at me was what scared me the most. Yeah.
So you could hit somebody if you needed to.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've often thought, well, especially if my children were in mortal danger or my life was no hesitation, I'd cut a bitch. I mean, yeah. Well, and so I worked at a grocery store when we first moved to Memphis. I was the assistant floral manager at Cecil's for 4 years, which was one of the best things I've ever done because it was a small family-owned grocery store, and they gave their managers a lot of autonomy to run their departments like a small business. I learned about inventory and labor, overhead, all this stuff. I mean, really, plus I had insurance. I was 19 years old. I had insurance benefits for me and my husband, and they did partial tuition reimbursement. So it was a grocery store, and it sucked. It sucked monkey balls. I'm not going to lie. But it was But
they allowed you to hit your employees because you had that kind of autonomy.
No, not exactly. But so we used to have to park across the street in train tracks, and it was a theater parking lot, and it was probably a good, I don't know, maybe 1 to 2 football fields away. And so on holidays, I would get out of there at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like the third shift people would have to unlock and let me out. And then I'm crossing, this street and in the middle of the night, dark. And I just think, come at me, bro. Like I was to get myself really pumped up. Like, yeah, I'm leaving work at 1 o'clock in the morning. I dare somebody come mess with me. I'm looking around like, so just to like psych myself up. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened except
for the guy you had to hit.
No. There was one holiday, I think it was Mother's Day, and my boss and I were leaving at 3:00 in the morning. And so I was in my early 20s. So she was probably like 55, maybe 55-ish. And so we had to walk across the street to our cars, and we walked out of the store at like 2:30, 3:00 in the morning. And I said, oh God, there's a train. And sometimes you have to wait for the train to pass to get across the tracks to your cars. And I said, Donna, is that train slowing down?
Oh my God.
Yeah, the train was slowing down. And she goes, oh my God, what are we gonna do? I said, we're going over the train.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, so the train stopped on the tracks. And you don't really realize how tall a train is until you start to climb a train.
Oh my God, you climbed over a train.
And she was not necessarily that physically fit. So to try to get her foot up on the rung,
weren't there like the little sections, like the dividers where you could like
yes, but it's still really high. Those sections are still really high. So we go up over the train, and it was Mother's Day because it was here in the South. It's still like you still have weeds are growing up, whatever. And so you're kind of in this like little ditch, and the weeds were up real high, and they had replaced a lot of the train ties, the railroad tracks earlier in the year. And so there's all these like obstacles. And so I'm just pissed. We got up over the train. I'm walking to my car, and all of a sudden I hear thump, wah, thump.
What?
She had hit one of the railroad ties and then gone flying in the air, and so did her keys.
Oh no. And I'm sure that it's not very light out around the train tracks.
There was one street light. So here we are. It's 3:00 in the morning. We've just climbed over a train. And did I mention we're freaking exhausted?
Oh my
and I was
God.
going to school at the time too. So I had school the next day. I'm sure I always had finals like the week of Mother's Day. And so we're crawling around trying to find her keys. We finally found her keys and got in the car and left. And so that's my train story. It did not end with me hitting someone, but I could have if I had to.
I don't know. I always have those dreams where it's time to like punch somebody in the face, and I just pull my punches, and they laugh. It's hard. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, nobody please attack me because I don't know how to attack you back.
All right. Soft spots.
So what do you want to jam about today, Ms. Shawn Carroll Sandy?
Well, I wrote a blog post that I published and dropped last week in my email to my readers, and it got a lot of response.
It was so good. It was like,
it was, and I think that it really resonated with people, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of response. Some people were really mad because they thought I wrote it specifically about them. Like within the first 15 minutes, 4 people from 4 different companies wrote back and said because they thought it was about them, which, I mean, I've done my job. If that's what happens, I've done my job, meaning that I'm doing something and I'm saying something I think that's really compelling and meeting people. It was all about the Sour Grapes Salesperson. So I would like to talk about that.
The Sour Grape Salesperson.
I even wore purple for Sour Grapes.
Oh, I love it. I wore a little purple too. I didn't mean to, but it wasn't for... Oh, I even printed this in, well, I think it's blue. Okay, so I have a word that's on the other side of this paper that I want to know if you know the meaning to. Okay. And then we're going to hold a contest for how people deal with the ramifications of this word. And you're going to put your answers down in the comments. And I personally, the Irreverent Sales Girl, will send my favorite answer or Shawn's favorite answer. I'll let her be the judge. A $25 gift certificate to Starbucks. So,
wow.
I know, right? I'm like buying your love, but I do actually want to hear how you deal with this concept. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. God,
I hope I know the word. Like, I don't want to be ignorant.
I didn't know it yesterday. I know it today. I mean, that's why I'm not making it a contest of do you know the word, because you just Google it and blah, blah. But I want to hear how you deal with it. So, so that's one thing that I wanted to talk about today.
Well, I think that's probably a lot for a good show.
Yeah. All right, cool. So, let's get us started then.
Let's roll.
Okay, I'm going to start by saying welcome everyone to the SellOut Show, where we are always sold out. I'm Dianna Guerin, the Irreverent Sales Girl, and my mission is to bring a dash of dignity to the art of selling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shawn Carroll Sandy. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer of the Selling Agency, where we coach humans how to sell to other humans. because selling like a sour grape just makes crappy wine.
That's right. Oh, that's so cool.
Speaking of which, if we could get some viewers to give us some suggestions for that piece, that would be really helpful, because I'm running out. Selling like a blank equals blank. That'd be great.
Shawn needs your help.
Yeah.
Selling like a what is what?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll make you famous. We'll even credit you in the beginning, right?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. You just froze up a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully we're clear. And if we do, we'll just go back and we'll just re-say that piece of brilliance.
It's so easy for me to edit those little things out now.
Good. Yay.
Yeah. So we will credit you on our show if Shawn uses your opening.
Yes.
All right. So what's on the docket today? I'm so excited.
Okay. So I want to talk about sour grapes and sour pusses and sour faces and sour people.
Sour grape sellers are the worst. All right. Even if you're the top performer, if you're a sour grape seller, you're the worst. Anyway, so cool. And I am going to reveal a new word that I learned this week that has to do something with selling. And then we're going to offer a big prize to the best answer for how you deal with this particular problem in sales. So
okay.
Big word reveal and see if Shawn knows what it means. I didn't know what it meant yesterday. So anyway, all right, let's get started. Let's talk about sour grape sellers.
Okay. So again, I'll start with, I wrote this blog and published it, and pretty much everything I write comes from real life experience.
Right.
You coach salespeople when, my clients are small, mid-sized businesses. They're relatively small organizations. All the stuff I get comes from the daily interactions and, real life stuff, which is why when I, publish the blog and I send it out to my audience, I get a lot of feedback oftentimes of, wow, that just happened to me yesterday, or, oh my gosh, was that about me? Or
were you talking about me?
Hear that? Yeah, that happens a lot because it's really about the sellers. It's really about the sellers. Or business owners. There's a lot of good stuff in there for them too. People building sales practices. So that's not surprising. But the blog I wrote about, don't let this salesperson wreak havoc on your sales organization. It was all about the Sour Grapes Sales Pro. That got immediate response to people saying, "Are you calling me sour grapes? Are you calling me sour grapes?"
It was such a good blog, selling agency blog.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it touched a nerve. And so I wanted to discuss with you. And here's why I think it touched a nerve, because everyone recognized themselves, or they recognized someone in the organization that they sell with, or they recognized the leadership or lack thereof, or lack of something in the organization. And it really, it struck people. And I almost felt bad. I had to go to the point and say, no, this is about every place I've worked. It's about all my clients. I gave some specific examples of people I've worked with that were sour grapes. And so, have you ever worked anywhere where, either you were a sour grape seller? I've turned into a sour grape. Or where these people run amok, because the big point of it was the ramifications of letting this happen in your organization are huge.
Yeah, they really are.
A sour grape, run away with things or turn with things. It's really huge.
Well, I am so embarrassed to say that there was a period of time where I was extremely frustrated with, frankly, it was my results. And Shawn, you nailed it on the head of, I was having terrible results, and our first response that we want to do is go blame something else, like blame the company or blame oh my God, I was a mess. So that was not good. And it was my sales year ever. And then that was kind of a kick in the face. I'm like, Dianna, you better get with the program here, because if you don't start taking personal responsibility, then your years are going to continue to suck. So, so there was that. But then also the point that you made that I think is so important and actually would have handled the problem with me was leadership. Do you know, if leadership isn't being held accountable, or they're not holding their salespeople to account for their own results and, getting them in the proper mindset and attitude, then it spoils everything. And I did actually end up leaving that company because of leadership and how frustrated I was that they weren't holding themselves to account. They weren't holding me to account. I mean, look, you're not doing your sellers any favors by not holding themselves to account, because otherwise they live in their own head and you're just counting on way too much self-discipline, frankly.
Yeah. Well, so I like that. There's a quote that I got here in the beginning of the article, and because I was like, where does the term sour grapes come from? So disparaging what one cannot obtain, as in the loser's scorn for the award is pure sour grapes. This expression alludes to the Greek writer Aesop's famous fable about a fox that cannot reach some grapes on a high vine, and so thus he announces they're sour. Well, I didn't want those grapes anyway.
I didn't want it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So what I really like, I've worked in organizations where I gave an example here where after we had 3 people in this territory, and the third person left, and they decided not to replace that person. And so they realigned the territories, and they ended up just splitting our geography in half, north and south. And so there were some accounts that I'd had up here and he'd had over here, my colleague. And I took over an account that he had, and it was a very large regional banking system, which I've have other stories about them that I've told, right? But, he had done just minimal work with them. I mean, and quite honestly, they would come into different OfficeMax stores and spent money. I mean, that was the work that he had done with them. Wasn't ever actually any project work. It was just, pieces. They actually had a very large contract with one of our competitors, but for other reasons, which I dove into and figured out down the road, they didn't like the competitors. And within a year, I had them up to 6 figures. And so, yeah, which, was a pretty major account for this region.
Yeah.
So he was, at the very same time, he was like, well, that's unfair. I started that account, which he didn't actually. He didn't do anything with it. And then at the same time, it was, well, it's just luck and timing. He would tell me it was unfair in one breath, and then say it was luck and timing another, because what he wanted was easy. I want an easy win. I want to be able to, round the bases.
I want it easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's what I see a lot of times when people say, well, I didn't make quota. Well, I don't have any, feeder accounts, or I don't have any, I don't have that big account. Sure, she can make quota. So they start talking about other people and almost disparaging them in their efforts and undermining their success in a reflection of their own, non-plus results or whatever.
So what happens? Like, what do you recommend when somebody starts hearing the words fair or unfair or luck or unlucky come out of their mouth that has to do with their results? How do they pull themselves out of that really bad hole?
Well, that is, I mean, a lot of times, I think that's a lifelong personality trait. Now,
okay, but if this isn't your personality trait, send a comment, and we will get in touch with you right away and get you out of your head and onto your track. But anyway, what do you recommend?
I think I've gone sour grapes before, but this is what happens when you let this kind of behavior run amok, when you let people, everyone's a special circumstance. And when you don't make the terms of engagement clear and enforceable, that's happened to me before. And then I lose respect. It undermines leadership. I lose respect for their leadership and management, and then go, look, if I'm trying to play by the rules, but apparently you don't care about the rules. I mean, I've turned sour grapes before, but I never said, that's, if I had that count, I would do well too. I never blamed my lack of performance on anyone else. I've looked around and said, yeah, you guys don't care about the rules. What the hell is going on here? And that's how you lose top performers too, you have to, as business owners or leaders with a sales program, you have to make the terms of engagement clear, fair, and justifiable for everyone.
They will walk out the door, and they will find a place that challenges them and holds them to account and keeps the rules. They absolutely will, because your top sellers have something called personal integrity. And when it's not around them, they'll leave. They have to leave.
Yeah. I had I bet you if you really thought about it, you would all have some great examples. I'd love to hear examples from people too. At the TV station I worked at, we had a sales contest to go on a cruise. And I don't know if this is the first year we did it, I won the cruise.
Where'd you go?
Oh, it was Caribbean, some Caribbean. I forgot, Puerto Rico, Labadee, which is Haiti, by the way. Bahamas, and then I think St. Thomas. Yeah. But, and then that consecutive years. Well, you got different points for different packages that you sold.
Yeah.
And one of the things you got points for is if you sold a Monday Night Football package, which
Ooh.
was really expensive, right? So some of my counterparts would go, okay, here's your standard, primetime news and all that kind of stuff package. And we're going to sneak in one Monday Night Football spot, and we're calling it Monday Night Football package. And they got all the points.
Oh, not good.
That's sneaky and underhanded. And they did it over and over again. And it was a team of two, and they both went on the cruise. So, it makes everyone else so frustrated when you feel like, look, I don't care how hard the rules are. I'll play by them.
Right.
As long as everyone has to play by those rules and everyone is judged, measured, and held to those standards. And when you don't, man, people get so pissed.
I know. I was in first grade, and we had a challenge of who could read the most books in a year. And I was like way ahead. And then this kid, Tim Hannig, if you're watching, he came in like mid-year, and I don't know, he got the I'm sorry for you points and ended up winning the contest with not as many books read because of, he came late to the game. Well, so it even makes first graders pissed off. And then, it is so discouraging. It's so discouraging for your top sellers, and it will absolutely kill their motivation. And I didn't read another book until last year. It's really bad.
You didn't read another book until last year.
It has damaging effects.
Well, it's part of how society works. Any society, any culture is set up. You have, laws, and then you have social constructs, right? Yeah. You have rules, which everyone agrees to abide by. And salespeople are very competitive, which is great, but you can't let people who are conniving and overly aggressive cut those corners and undermine those social constructs, or you lose faith and you lose the trust of people who do abide by social constructs and the social norms and social contracts is the word I'm looking for, and that is really damaging. And then once top performers turn sour grapes, they go look for other places to work.
Right, and then your business becomes a race to the bottom. It's just it becomes a race to the bottom. Absolutely. How can you cut the corner the fastest to get the result is not actually going to get your business where you need it to go. Right,
and one of the things that I wrote about too was that if you've got people who like the sour grapes person who has a bad attitude because they're trying to cut corners or whatever, or they've got a chip on their shoulder, or the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Here's what you need to really be careful about. If you're a sales director or a business owner, your customers are going to hear this.
I know, right? I mean, it will get back to your customers. Absolutely.
Yes. If they're bitching and belly aching about how unfair things are, well, my territory is this and they didn't pay me enough, or my comp plan sucks. Your customers are going to hear it. I've taken over accounts that were, floundering. And, after that salesperson fortunately left, what the customer told me was, I didn't want to see this person anymore because I felt it was inappropriate. They were trying to make me feel bad because they were not getting paid enough, or their boss was a monster or something like that. I went, holy crap. It will get back to your customers. So that's another reason as a leader, you've got to knock that crap out. And
I'm so excited. Go ahead. And what?
And if you're doing it, knock it off.
Knock it off.
It does not make you look good.
No, but I'll tell you, we have hope coming your way because on an upcoming show in a couple weeks, this really great guy named Matt McDarby is going to be joining us. And he's somebody who coaches and trains sales managers to get the professional development that they need. And he's going to come on and share with salespeople how to manage up to get the things that you need, to get the accountability that you need, to get the environment that keeps you being a top performer. So I'm really excited for him to bring his perspective.
Nice. That's very exciting.
Very good. It's very sexy, the things that we do here.
So if you have a story, our listeners out there, audience, if you have a story about, something that went horribly wrong as a salesperson in your organization that left you just being absolutely mad, but we want to know these things because, I think that leaders don't often understand just how horrible these things, just how horribly the impact of these type of things go. Your sales program has the integrity of your worst salespeople.
That's right.
And if you have someone who is corrupt and you let that go unchecked, it will corrode your sales organization. So we want to hear your stories. If you drop us a note below or whatever, just let us know.
Even better, send us a video. And if we get, 2 or 3 or more of them, we'll put them together and actually publish them on our channel. So
how should they send us the video, Dianna?
I don't know. They're going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to publish it somewhere and then tell us where it is. I mean, hey, if you can figure out how to make a big old sale, you can figure out how to get us a video.
Yeah. You could upload it to your YouTube and then put the link in the comment.
Sure. Or, find us, tweet us, love us, subscribe and send.
Yes. So, all right. Well, so I've been thinking about sour grapes and for the pretty much this whole week because I've been having these conversations since I sent that email out. So
I think it's so great that people found themselves like, was that me?
I really do consider that me doing my job. That happens almost every week. Someone says, "Oh my gosh, did you write that about me? Was that about our conversation we had 2 years ago?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was about you.
See, that's what happens when you talk about things that aren't philosophical, that actually happened yesterday. Boots on the ground, phone in the hand. That's where the rubber hits the road. That's where it makes a difference. So yeah. I love that.
Exactly. All right. So I'm done with that. I've been waiting to talk about that because it's been kind of unraveling all week. Now, what's this you have here? By the way, you can see through the paper when you hold it up.
Well, can you read it backwards?
Yes, I can.
What does it say?
Fubbing.
Very good. What does it mean?
I don't know. I haven't heard that term. I'm going to guess it's something like a portmanteau of fibbing and flubbing.
It's actually when somebody isn't paying attention to what you're saying because they're on their smartphone.
Oh, got that. The PH is for phone, fubbing. Very interesting.
And the ubbing, I guess, is for snubbing, right? But,
yeah.
You get it, right? So, phone snubbing, I guess. But fubbing is
portmanteau.
So much.
Did you know what a portmanteau is?
A what?
Portmanteau. It's when you take 2 words and you make them into a new word.
Oh, cool. It was so funny. I came into my husband and I'm like, do you know what fubbing is? And he says, no. And I told him and he says, that sounds like it's made up. And I'm like, all the words are made up. Every word is made up. Anyway, it just was made up before we were born. So it was a real word. Anyway, so I want to hear from you. This is so great. I posted this on the Irreverent Sales Girl page. What do you do in a sales situation when somebody's fubbing you? And I got a response from our very favorite Lynn Hidy.
Oh, good. Love Lynn.
Yeah, there's only one Lynn Hidy.
UpYourTeleSales, Lynn.
What?
UpYourTeleSales. That's the name of her company.
UpYourTeleSales, Lynn. She gave a great response. But so I know this is on the fly, but we never let people know ahead of time what the questions are that we're going to ask. So have you ever been in a situation where you were being fubbed? I guess that's the word, the way you conjugate this. Have you ever been fubbed and what did you do about it?
Well, this goes back to, when we finally get our little merchandise store up, just because we want to, I'm going to have a t-shirt made that says, "Not afraid to make things awkward."
I love it so much.
Because this happened a couple times and it happens more frequently now. But actually, this was like maybe 2009 or 10 when BlackBerries and things really first started being coming into meetings.
BlackBerries.
Yeah. Oh, I love the numbers. They're the buttons. So I was in a meeting and it wasn't even my meeting. My counterpart was with me and we were visiting someone and he was so checked out. He was on his phone, and she was talking, and I put my hand on her, and she looked at me, and I just said, stop talking.
Wow.
And that was easy because there were only 3 of us in the meeting, me, her, and idiot. And then he looked up and he said, go on.
Really? Really? Go on like that?
Yeah, go on. Wow. I said, you know what? I think that if you have something more pressing to take care of, we're just going to go. And so then he got a phone call and he got up and walked out of the room.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah. Well, he was a dick. he was a dick. It was not necessarily my meeting. She had tried to get a meeting with me to talk about print, and he just wasn't really interested. And it just showed. I mean, wasn't really well pre-qualified. The agenda, the intention wasn't there. And so, So that was one example. What have you done?
Well, actually, I have to do a little segue here because I had one situation that was so similar to what you said. It wasn't phubbing, but I was sitting with this woman. I traveled like an hour and a half to go see her. She knew what we were going to be talking about, and because she was kind of a former client. So I sit down and she says, so let me just lay this out for you. We have no budget. My senior management doesn't believe this is a really good idea. And this isn't, we've got priorities elsewhere. So she kind of lays that out.
Great.
And then she goes, okay, kind of like your guy, go ahead. She's like, so pitch me. I'm like, wow, just wow. Like, what do you think about salespeople? Like, I'm going to come in and I'm like, we got nothing to talk about.
Dance for me, monkeys. That's what she's doing. Dance for me, monkeys.
Like, I'm sitting there waiting for my opportunity to just like spit out a spiel, right? So I was just like, we got nothing to talk about. And that's all I said. And she looks back at me and she goes, what? And I said, when you have senior management interests, it's a priority and you have budget, then you might get interested in what we have to say. But I'm going to give you, 20 minutes of your time back. We can sit here and talk about other personal things. That's totally fine. I'm not taking my relationship away from you, but I'm not going to pitch you. I'm not going to pitch to somebody who's phubbing, and I'm not going to pitch to somebody who's already told me they can't buy. I mean, shame on me for not qualifying enough to save myself the hour and a half trip there and back. But yeah, absolutely. Don't let people do that crap to you. Do not let them do that to you.
No,
not a monkey.
It's not good. It's not good. And even when I'm doing training, like a small group of 10 or 12 people or whatever, I will stop talking and stare someone down until they put the phone down.
Pass the basket.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's crappy. It's crappy. It really is. And I mean, as someone who's trying to help you,
right?
I believe as a salesperson, that's what we're trying to do. If you're experiencing this a lot, perhaps work on one, pre-qualifying more, who's in the room.
Or stop being so boring.
Yeah. Or who's in the room? Should they be in there? Are they invested in being there? And then 2, work on the conversation. You're not presenting. Presentations, PowerPoints, they don't earn business. People earn business. So be a person that someone can have a conversation with.
I'm going to do a little pitch here because I've been getting familiar with this tool that I absolutely love, which is Prezi.
Oh, I love Prezi. Yes.
Oh, I know. It's like, ditch the PowerPoints, create these presentations are amazing. You can actually like guide a conversation with it. And it feels like the audience is the one that's like driving the conversation, but they can only drive it inside the parameters that you've already set up. So I really encourage you, if you're a top seller, and also, Prezi, you should probably sponsor us. So.
Well, they were at Women Sales Pros Rev It Up Summit last year. They're great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the presentation that they did with their own Prezi was, you were transfixed, right? When was the last time that you were doing a sales presentation to a whole board with a PowerPoint presentation where everyone was transfixed? I mean, I'm just saying. So get a hold of the good people at Prezi. But I do want to tell a phubbing story that turned into business.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at a gigantic technology company, which you would all recognize the name of, and I'm selling to them. And the lead buyer, and it's just taken me a million years to get this appointment, and like I've traveled there and the whole bit. So she's phubbing, And I don't think that it was actually really phubbing because it wasn't snubbing me with their phone. It was just,
Right.
there was something that was happening, right? And I just stopped and I got interested. I'm like, is everything okay? I think we talked about this before. I'm like, is everything okay? She said, actually, I'm dealing with this real blow up with my dog. And she had a rescue dog and a like she's the landlady of this other house next door, and it was all becoming a mess. And it was something that she really needed to deal with right then. I'm like, look, let's take 15 minutes, get it sorted. And we did. We just stopped the meeting, got coffee, got to have a conversation with somebody else who was in the room, which is always good. And then we came back to the meeting, and she was present and she was focused. And then we had, where does your prospect eat lunch? Now I knew something that was really important to her, and we got to connect over, maybe I'm a dog lover. So, but anyway, we got to connect over the dog, and it turned into business. So you can use phubbing to your advantage if you just get interested in what's taking somebody away from you, because they probably don't mean to be rude. They probably are just dealing with something that's really, important.
Or they're addicted to their phone.
Or they're a dick to their phone, like you said.
They're just a dick. Well, yeah,
to their phone.
I go into restaurants now, and our policy is no phones at the dinner table, no phones while we're together. Really, I mean, even when I'm when my husband and I are driving in the car, I try not to be on my phone so you can be with someone. Love the ones you're with. Include your customers, include your buyers, right? Love the ones you're with. Give people your undivided attention. Think about how. What did Gary Vaynerchuk at Sales Machine in New York last year said? Attention is my religion. And
what?
Yeah, do you remember that?
No. What did he mean by that?
Attention is my religion, meaning that is what he wants from people. That's their God. I mean, it's so rare to get someone's attention that is what he as someone who sells things and helps his customers sell things, that's what he wants. It's a limited capacity. Everyone wants it. And so to get someone's attention, so give your attention to someone, be there present and fully. And, it doesn't take long to have a meeting. I mean, 15 minutes without your phone. Okay. Like, you may be really important, but if you're a buyer, do someone a solid and put your phone down and just really be with them.
Yeah. And then extra points for anybody who is in their 20s who can put in our comments who sings Love the One You're With without Googling it. Extra points to you. Well, this is all, God, Gary Vaynerchuk, that motherfucker. He's so good.
He is.
And I use the F word on purpose because he will, but we don't normally do that here.
Well, so this is the story he told.
Yes, please.
And I'm going to retell a Gary Vaynerchuk story, and he can.
So good luck with that for us.
So he said when he was, I don't know, something crazy like 6 or 7 or whatever, he started a lemonade stand, and he had franchises very quickly. But he said, I wasn't the one who would sit behind the stand and collect money. No, I was out doing marketing. He was doing some marketing research. So what he would do is ride in his big wheel. Whose parents let you do this? I don't know, but this is a different day and time. So he would ride his big wheel, and he would sit on the corner watching traffic. And what he would do was he would watch. Where were you, by the way, when he was telling the story?
I know this story, but I didn't remember him couching it like attention is my religion. Anyway, go ahead.
So he would sit there at the corner and look at drivers and watch where their eyes were. He was paying attention to where they were putting their attention.
Oh my God.
Because when he figured it out, that's where he would put his lemonade stand signs. When he figured out where every driver was looking, that's where he would put his lemonade stand signs. I
want to be Gary Vaynerchuk when I grow up. Oh my God, that's so smart.
Right. So attention, it's that's a big deal. And so giving it, getting it, commanding it is really important. And that's why, I'm not afraid to make things awkward, because I'm going to be in a meeting with someone. If you call me there, if you say you're interested, I deserve your attention. You can tell me to go screw off later. If you don't like what I have to say, you think I charge too much, whatever. But in this moment in time, I'm going to get your attention.
Yeah, well, and the amount of time it even takes, the amount of getting somebody's attention to even get to the meeting where you get to have that conversation, you deserve to have your questions answered. You deserve at least a 20-minute rich conversations. You absolutely command that attention.
Yeah. I think one of the best compliments I've ever had was, I have a client down in Houston, and they're in the oil and drilling technology field. And so I was actually speaking to a group of operations people every quarter. They're such a great company. They bring like 300 people together every quarter from around the globe. I mean, they have people in Dubai and Alaska and Qatar and in operations. You've got people who, their last promotion up, they were roughnecks out in the field, right? So this is an interesting audience.
Yeah.
I'm talking about being authentic and your transparency and working with the sales team and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the guys afterwards said, I've never seen this room where I looked around consciously and said, there was not a single person on their phone. I don't know how you did it, but wow. So I'd figure out how to engage them and get them off their phones. A lot of it was, if I saw someone picking up a phone, I would migrate their way and get closer to them to where they would just feel like, okay, I got to put this down, pay attention. And great people. And afterwards I went out to dinner with them, and here you've got these guys talking about, oh, that wasn't very authentic. Like they're actually picking up what we were talking about and using.
Nice.
And using it at dinner. It was fun.
That is a huge compliment. That's a huge compliment. I had a person who was leading meetings that if somebody's phone rang and like they hadn't turned their mobile off and the phone rang, and she warned them ahead of time, like, people are so checked out. She's like, if your phone rings, you're taking it and you're putting it on speaker for all of us to engage with.
Right.
And it happened almost every meeting, and it was hilarious. But it kept people really engaged. Anyway.
Right.
Well, I think we've nailed it on sour grapes and dealing with phubbing. Please remember, give us your responses below. Send us a video about your sour grapes or your phubbing, but sour grapes, right? Experience, so that we can collage you and make you famous. And then also send us what you do in the comments when you're being phubbed. And you will win a $25 gift certificate from the Irreverent Sales Girl. Anything you want to say to wrap us out here?
No, I think that these are the two really important things as a salesperson. Recognize if you're going sour grapes, and then maybe I think with Matt, let's make sure we remember to bring this up with Matt. If your leaders are not making it so the rules of engagement are clear, fair, just, and enforceable for everyone, what do you do? That's going to be a part of our discussion of managing your managers for sellers. I think that would be really good.
Okay, I will give him the heads up.
Okay.
All right. And I will take us out by saying, stop hoping
and start selling.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.